You're looking at a VP of Marketing or, a lead surgeon. On paper, they are just crushing it. But behind closed doors, their whole internal operating system is held together by duct tape, panic, and like an absurd amount of caffeine.
Yeah, a lot of caffeine, honestly.
Right. So today we're taking a deep dive into the article Late ADHD Diagnosis, the hidden cost of success. Our mission here is to figure out why so many high achievers completely slip under the radar. Like, they only discover they have ADHD well into adulthood.
Right. Which, completely rewrites their life story.
Exactly. It totally shatters and then rebuilds their entire sense of self.
Well, the big overarching theme here is the invisibility of the struggle. I mean, we're looking at people who have literally weaponized their own anxiety to meet societal expectations.
Wow. Weaponized anxiety.
Yeah, because they produce stellar results, right? So no one, and often not even themselves, recognizes the massive cognitive tax they're paying to get there.
I read this like redlining a car engine just to keep pace with normal traffic. You're pushing the RPMs into the red zone constantly.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
I mean, sure, you're keeping up, maybe even passing people, but you are actively destroying the engine to do it. But I'm struggling to understand something here.
Yeah, go ahead.
If someone is operating on the brink of a breakdown every single day, how do doctors, or even the people themselves, just brush that off as regular burnout? Like, shouldn't a fundamental neurodevelopmental difference be, well, obvious?
You would think so, yeah.
Mm.
But the historical diagnostic criteria, they look for external disruption. Things like failing grades, missed deadlines, or behavioral issues.
Which these high achievers don't have.
Exactly. They compensate with intense perfectionism. So when they finally hit a wall, it's usually because the compounding demands of adulthood, like a major promotion or having kids, just totally outpace those coping mechanisms.
So the doctors just see a stressed out professional.
Right. They see the smoke, they treat the burnout, but they completely miss the engine fire that's actually causing it.
So the engine finally blows, the real issue gets spotted, and the late diagnosis arrives. But getting that piece of paper isn't the finish line, is it?
Oh, not at all. It triggers this massive emotional whiplash. You get the relief of realizing you aren't fundamentally broken, but that is followed almost immediately by profound grief.
Grief for the years spent struggling in silence, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And then comes the identity crisis.
That part really fascinated me. If you suddenly realize your legendary drive was mostly just a coping mechanism, and your fun, spontaneous nature is actually clinical impulsivity, how do you figure out who you actually are?
It's incredibly disorienting. To navigate it, we have to look under the hood at the neurology, specifically what's called an interest-based nervous system.
Okay, wait, let's break that down. What physically makes their nervous system different?
It really comes down to dopamine processing. A neurotypical brain gets a reliable hit of dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter driving motivation when a task is simply deemed important.
Or if it offers a future reward, right?
Right. But the ADHD brain has a deficit in that exact dopamine pathway. Importance just doesn't register chemically.
So how do they get anything done?
Well, to get enough dopamine to initiate an action, the brain requires novelty, genuine interest, competition, or, extreme urgency.
Oh, wow. Which explains why you can hyper-focus on a bizarre new hobby for 8 hours straight, totally forgetting to eat.
Yep, exactly.
But you physically cannot force yourself to fill out a simple 3-line expense report.
Right.
The dopamine just isn't there.
The tank is empty for the expense report, but overflowing for the hobby. Once you understand that mechanical reality, the identity crisis starts to resolve.
Because you realize your drive and creativity are genuine?
Yes, but you've been forcing a brain, built for interest, to run on the toxic fumes of last-minute panic. So the goal shifts from fixing a broken neurotypical brain to accommodating a neurodivergent one.
And one of the most surprising things I took away from the author's rebuilding phase was how they framed self-compassion, letting go of the guilt over missed appointments or the need to be perfect.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's framed not as some feel-good platitude, but as a highly functional strategy.
Right, because you literally cannot build a sustainable custom planning system if you're draining all your energy, beating yourself up over how your brain naturally operates.
That makes total sense.
And community plays a big role there, too. Connecting with other high achievers with ADHD provides validation that no planner or app can give you.
It proves you can be successful without redlining the engine.
Exactly. A late diagnosis really isn't the end of your success story. It's the moment you're finally handed the correct user manual for your specific brain.
You finally get to stop fighting your own wiring. So as you look at your own schedule this week, I want you to ask yourself a hard question. How much of what you accomplish is genuinely fueled by your own interest, and how much is secretly powered by the sheer, unadulterated stress of an impending deadline?